You're listening to SM Media, the #1 place for exclusive content.
Hi everyone, and welcome to the latest episode of the Scottish Football Show Extra right here on SM Media. I'm Scott Pike. It's an absolute pleasure to be your host as always. We're continuing our theme with WOSFL Premier Division teams. We're delighted to be joined by the team from Blantyre Victoria. We'll start with the manager, John Gibson. John, welcome to the show. It's an absolute pleasure to welcome you on.
Thanks, Scott. Delighted to be there. Happy on the show with my captain of the club, Craig Kerr.
Brilliant. And we're also joined by Craig Kerr, the captain. Craig, it's a pleasure to welcome you on to the show. Thank you very much for joining us.
All right, mate. Cheers for having us.
No, it's an absolute pleasure. It's great to have you both on. We'll go through, obviously, before we touch on the season so far, obviously the Scottish football has been a bit of a busy week the past week, but Scotland won last night, 2-0 win over Denmark. That's him a seeded position into the playoffs. John, what was your thoughts in the game? Were you impressed?
Yeah, I was impressed. Only seen the highlights. Obviously, we were training last night, Scott, so we missed the game. And I watched the highlights when I came in. So it's a good score. I thought they were excellent. I watched the game on Friday night against Moldova, and I thought they played well there. They controlled most of the game. And I think they've got some good players. And he's got a system now that works, where you're having your Tierneys and your Robertsons on the left-hand side. And he's got some good backup players. I mean, he's had to change it with McTominay going out in that. And the boy Cooper's come in for Leeds United, done well. He's got some good players, and I think he's got a good squad of players. And he's added with the boy Adams up front. He's done really well for Scotland, so he is. So they've got a good striking option now.
Yeah, definitely. Craig, what was your overall thoughts? Did you see much of the game?
No, I've not seen it at all yet.
Have you not?
Busy training.
Did we spoil the result for you?
No, I've seen the result, that was all. I've training.
Aye, definitely. But it puts them in a good position, obviously, getting into the playoffs. But we'll touch a bit on that on my flagship show during the week. We will move into talking about the season so far. John, it was always going to be a struggle with the way the league's working out this season. Obviously, you just come up last season and I took you played in the season before it was called last year. 2 wins, 3 draws, 14 defeats, 9 points so far. What's been your overall thoughts in the season as a whole so far?
Obviously, Scott, it's been disappointing with the results and where we are. We've obviously not picked up enough wins. We're in the process of now trying to change it a wee bit and bring some players in, try and freshen it up, try and get the wins. I still believe there's 19 games left. I don't think there's much in the league from the 12 teams down. I think we've played games where we could have won them quite easily, but we've lost them. And everybody knows, as a manager as well, and other managers will tell you, when you're losing games, it's a habit of losing, and just as much as winning. If you're winning games, you get into that habit, and we sort of get into a wee bad habit of losing games. And as I've touched on before with other programmes and that, we've not had the greatest of luck, but decisions against us. But that's what happens when you're down there. You've got to fight for everything. You've got to work hard for everything. You've got to work even harder when you're down there. And that's what we've got today now. The results haven't been good enough. I would expect it more for the squad I'd built. We did lose a few for last year, for even the 7 games we played. We built in our squad again because we missed a few there. Then we've lost 6 again this year. To start this year, we brought a few in. So it's up for me now to try and get that changed and try and turn it around, quick turnaround, try and get the boys in and get results changed.
Craig, what's been the overall kind of thoughts in the dressing room in the season so far?
It's been disappointing for everybody, to be fair. It's been tough, really, but you just need to keep battling away in that, then just keep trying to get results.
And how you felt personally about the whole season? Are you glad to be back playing?
Of course, you need to be playing all the time, but it's hard getting beat. We're not used to getting beat, especially the last 2 seasons, I mean.
Yeah, definitely.
Winning games constantly.
Yeah, we'll touch on obviously how your season's went so far. The opening defeat to Pollock in the first day, obviously that was a big turning point of the season. Obviously the season kicking off after a bad kind of couple of years. What was your overall thoughts on that? Was Pollock just a better team, John, in that day?
Listen, I said at the start of the season, we know where you are, right? And I've spoken about it before. You've probably got 12 teams, 14 teams where you'll be battling against. There's a top 6 that I always say, if you take anything from them, then that's good. You might not take anything. Pollock's probably one of the teams, budget-wise, player-wise, just above us, you know what I mean? And that's just one of the things. You just go in with it. So disappointing to lose 5-0 in your first game of the season. But we'll look forward to the other games where we can try and pick something up. And it is disappointing to lose 5 in their first game. again, you just got to try and go there first game of the season and battle away. But their quality was just far too much for us in that day.
Craig, was the 2-2 home draw against Hurlford a big result for you in the second game?
That was massive. I actually thought we could have won that. I wasn't playing at the time. I was just back for a holiday, so I got the second half. But watching the second half, I thought we were absolutely brilliant. We should have actually went on and won that game.
Would you share the thoughts, John? What was your thoughts in the Hurlford game?
Yeah, I think after the Pollock game, we picked up slightly. So we did. I know we had a hard start. We had Pollock, Kilwinning away, and Auchinleck first 3 away games. So they're difficult games. So you look to your home games to try and turn things around. And the first 3 or 4 home games we've done well. We got a couple of draws and a couple of wins. So that's what I thought. When we beat Ben Bob, I thought, right, that's quite good. I knew we were having a hard one again the Saturday against Kilwinning. And then midweek again, we had one that could be winnable. So that's how it kind of turned out.
And then obviously after that, it was a 5-0 loss to the Buffs and then a massive 3-2 win at home to Benburb. Was that a big win for you, Craig, getting that win against Benburb after another bad defeat?
That was a big win, actually. I wasn't playing again. I was injured. That was a massive win, because just after getting beat one game, you need to pick yourself back up again and then get another win. So it's a good wee boost for us. Absolutely.
Obviously, John, that must have been a big win for yourself as well, 3-2 at home to Benburb.
Yeah, it started Benburb, they'd started really well, and they're a good side. Paul Evans bought a good side, a big strong side, and it was a good performance for the boys. We had probably the best game we've played, battling wise, everything wise. We've done that to win it now, so that was probably what we've done the best.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, then after that, the win against Benburb, 3 defeats against Talbot, Bede and Rob Roy. Craig, was there any of the games, were you playing in them before we...
I was playing the ones.
Was there any of the games you felt you were unlucky in?
The Rob Roy, there wasn't much in that, and the Beef one wasn't much in it. It was just silly goals we gave away again. That was their own fault probably, but there wasn't much in them at all.
Would you go along with that, John? What was your thoughts in the 3 games?
Yeah, listen, I said earlier, there wasn't much in any of the games. We could have maybe picked points up in some of the games and won them. There's not much in them, and that's probably my downfall. When we've had chances, we've not really took them, and when other teams have had the chances, they've been clinical, and that's probably, as I said there, that's probably my problem all season. And then you're up against it when you're no scoring and you're having to defend all the time. And we could have took points just as easy as winning them. We could have lost them. And same with Benburb, although we won that game, we could have easily lost it. It's one of the, that's how close the games were.
And obviously after that, that massive win against Troon, the 3-1 away win. What went right for you that day, Craig?
Just all the boys getting together. It was one everybody wanted to win, because we just lost, I think, just before that. A few games before that we lost, so it was just one we all needed to win. We were just all battled together, and that's how we got the win.
Brilliant.
Was that a bad performance?
Yeah, obviously that was a turning point. Did you think at the time that could be a turning point, John?
Yeah, listen, it was one of the ones to, you're going down there midweek. As usual, you're down at the bare bones. People are injured. People can't make it because of work. People are away. And it's one of the ones you go, if I take in for this, I'll be happy. And then you think, probably our best performance of the season. You turned out the best performance of the season when you're down to your bare bones. And that sometimes happens when you're not least expecting it. And that was, the boys battled well and played some really good football and a good surface. And that was probably most enjoying bit of that result. And I thought then, listen, we can get it and we can build on it. But once again, the same team, I don't think I've been able to get the same team in the park twice all season. People then come and say, oh, I'm away the weekend, I'm away at a wedding, I'm away here. And then you're going to change the team again for the Saturday.
Aye. And obviously after that, you kind of built on that a wee bit. 2 draws against Glenafton and Kilburney, kind of sandwiched between a 3-1 loss to Clydebank. Craig, with the 2 draws, did you feel as if they could have been wins?
Oh, I definitely. Glenafton, man, was I definitely should have won that game. The ref cheated us for that one, but kind of didn't about that. But we 1-0 up, and then we went 2-0 up, and the ref gave a goal we scored offside somehow, and that's what put us down. And he gets sent off for arguing with the ref. So it kind of just put us right down the mood, and then it was us 10 men for 30 minutes or something, and we went one each. That was one definitely should have won.
So obviously, John, they were 2 points. Do you feel they could have been 6?
Yeah, unfortunately, I wasn't at the game. I had COVID that day. I had COVID, so I wasn't at the game. But I watched the highlights. And the players are telling us about the goal. We've 1-0 up. Sam McKenzie put one for a corner. We walked into the top bin. The linesman's flagged for an offside, saying that the goalkeeper was obscured the view by people being offside. We've then showed the video, seen the video and photographs, and there's nobody actually standing in front of the goalkeeper. And he's standing in a great position and he's gave offside. It's one of the ones that just goes against you. And that had been 2-0 and the game finished. We've had a few decisions again. I said earlier, we've had a few decisions that have been poor. We've been the wrong side of a few decisions, but we'll not make that excuses because some of the games we've just not been good enough. But that one was one of the worst decisions I've seen for a long time. And yet they stand by their decisions. You can't take it back. It's one of the things. And that could have been 3 points, and that would have been a valuable 3 points at the time.
It would have been. Obviously, was Coburn similar? What was your thoughts on that game, Craig?
I think that was just not taking chances again, and they didn't defend well. Based, I think with their work, I remember right, just was too easy caught through us, and then we couldn't finish. We had a good few chances that game. To get back, never done it.
And then obviously that's after that you've been in this kind of losing run in the league, John. How hard's it been? Obviously, for the once you're in that run, how hard is it to get out of it?
It's difficult. It's difficult. People's confidence go down. Players' confidence go. I said earlier, you get into that habit of losing games, and players, when something goes against them, the heads go down. Don't get me wrong, we've still been battling away. There's not been many games. There's been a few that have been disappointing the players for not working hard enough, but it's so disappointing because everybody, as Craig said earlier, for the last 2 seasons, we've been used to winning. In 3 seasons, we've been used to winning games. So when you're not winning games, supporters are used to seeing you winning as well.
Yeah.
Managers want to see you win. They're used to seeing you win. So when you're not winning, it's very difficult. It's difficult to pick the players up. But you've got to find a way. You've got to find that positive outlook and find a way to get people up and get that change up, that probably negative attitude and that feeling of unjust when things are going against you. We've got to try and change that. So we have. And it's only me and the management team that can do that, and that's what we're trying to do. We're not bringing players in to be positive, try to change it, try and get the results going.
Yeah, absolutely. Craig, obviously you were at the club. You've been at the club for a while. When you were there, when you got promoted, has it been a difficult kind of step up to go to that bit kind of the Premier League after kind of doing well in the league below?
Well, last year was obviously a couple of teams out of the league, but apart from that, we done really well last year. Before we were sitting, I think we were about 5th or something, 6th maybe, roughly. So I thought the league wasn't that bad. So this year it's been a bit tougher, I think, and just obviously the losses just piling up. It's putting everything in a downer. It's hard to pick yourself up for them again, but it's a harder league this year than it was last year, I think, even though it's the same teams.
John, has there been any of the kind of games you've played recently that you felt could have been different?
Yeah, I think one Saturday we started pretty well again, but then they've scored a wonder strike to get themselves in front, and then it's always difficult when the team's in front. But listen, we've been in games. We've definitely been in games in certain parts of games. In other parts of games, we've not been in it. Probably the biggest disappointment was the 3-0 loss to Bonington because we weren't in it. And we were positive going down there. I'd watched them the week before and I was positive that we maybe picking something up, and I thought that was our chance to get back in it. They were similar to ourselves, winning many games, but again, they weren't losing with many goals. And you could see they were still in games. So that's been probably the biggest disappointment, is losing to Bonington. Other than that, I felt we've done well in some games and probably been in charge of games and looking as if we're going to win, and then for some reason lose a goal, and then, as I say, the heads go down a wee bit and we start losing that wee bit of confidence.
Craig, obviously when you're in that kind of run, is it difficult to kind of pick yourselves up after a run like that?
It was just up to the boys. Everybody goes into the same mindset every week. Everybody's buzzing about, and it's until you actually go into the park, and then that's when it harms. So you need to start well, and if you don't start well, the ball goes down and the heads go down, and it's just goes downhill from there. But you need to just keep picking yourself up, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll touch a bit on your cup runs as well. You took part in the Junior Cup. You won in the first round away to Downfield 1-0. You then went out in the second round to West Calder United. John, how was it to play in that Junior Cup, and was it disappointing to get out that early?
Listen, it's always disappointing to get out the club that early. And again, I'm not going to keep parting up. We actually scored a right good goal, and obviously the referees are there themselves. It was another one decision, but we weren't great that day, and that kind of put us back. It's always disappointing to get out the cup. What I will say is, and I don't mean it disrespectful in any way, but the Junior Cup's not exactly what it was now, because a lot of clubs have pulled out it. It's not got that same appeal it did when you were a junior club. Because listen, as you know, we've evolved now. We're now in the West of Scotland League. They're no junior anymore. So everything's evolved. I know the club are still in it. And the traditions are there, because the traditions were great. Everybody looked forward to the Scottish Junior Cup. And you still do. But I just don't think it's got the same appeal as it had before, especially with some of the teams coming out it now.
Yeah. What was your thoughts, Craig, obviously, after that? Firstly, the win against Downfield, and then the loss to West Calder?
Well, the win was a good win, but we had a lot of chances that game as well. Just couldn't finish it. Could maybe have 2 or 3. The West Calder game had hundreds of chances in that as well. Just couldn't do it again. But again, lost a stupid goal. That's what's caused us.
They're doing well in the south as well. Obviously, the big win against Cumnock. Was that a massive win for you, John, for confidence?
Yeah, we done well that day. We brought a couple of players in and loan, and that gave us that wee bit of to push on. But we done well, beat them 2-0. The game we played excellent, and then you look to build the next week. And I'd said earlier on, with Glencairn at home, although we lost a goal after a minute or so, I felt in the first 10-15 minutes the players were starting to get back in it. We were playing really good football, and then we've had somebody sent off, and that puts you right in the back foot for a straight red. The decision again, it's probably contentious, but in this day and age, referees are very quick to throw red cards about. I watched the game against Cumnock and Kilburn, the same referee, and he showed a red card to Finlay Fife, and I looked at it and go, where's that red card? And I watched the highlights here, and it's the same referee that gave everybody the red card. So he obviously not learned. He just keeps getting red cards out for tackles. But no, listen, I was confident in picking up. We picked a good result. We've done well, and then we lost that game 3-0 down to 10 men.
Yeah, definitely. Was that a good one for you, Craig, to get that victory over Cumnock?
I thought again that was maybe another return point again, just to try and get the boys buzzing. Same again, getting to Saturdays, everybody's buzzing again after getting a win. So I think that can give a wee uplift to go and start winning games again.
Yeah, we'll touch a bit on the future of what your next wee run coming up after we get into a bit more about your careers and things like that. But we'll start obviously with John. John, you had a really good playing career in Scottish football with spells at Hamilton, Alloa and Stirling, playing for some good managers. What was the kind of highlights of your playing career?
I think obviously playing career, the highlights of playing at that level was the places you got to play, Ibrox, Parkhead, and winning leagues, winning with Stirling, Alloa and things like that. Making your debut in the Premier League with Hamilton Accies. Had a lot of good memories for playing senior and played for some good clubs, you said. And probably when you look back, and I look back and I say to myself, I had a good career and I'm happy with it. And I always say to the players, listen, I wasn't a great player, but I was a good professional, and that's what got me. That's what got me these clubs, and that's what got me over nearly 400 appearances. That's just how I was. But no, I look back and I say, listen, I probably achieved more than I would expect with my ability, to be truthful with you.
And obviously, there's some good memories of playing in that they kind of teams, but some good managers you must have played under as well. Who sticks out?
Yeah, I played up some really good managers. John Lambie, great manager he's played under. I played under Kevin Drinkle, very good. Won the league with Kevin, and then down Terry Christie, an insight to a man who done really well as a manager, part-time manager, and you picked a lot up for Terry. So I did as a part-time, and how he goes about and sets his teams up. A great manager, so he was. And then on for there, that was Stenhousemuir. There was other ones come in. One I really enjoyed playing under down at Morton was David Mcpherson, the ex-Rangers player. Davey had a good insight, and his assistant was Stevie Friel, who's now, I think Stevie's up at is it Dundee United, I think Stevie's.
Yeah, I think he is, yeah.
I've seen him there recently. Stevie was assistant, and good people, good coaches, so they were. So I played under some really good managers and enjoyed all the managers I played under. And he always takes something from them.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah, definitely. A really established playing career. Craig, you came through a good couple of teams. What was your kind of memories of coming through at youth level?
It was only at Aberdeen, really. It was at boys' club most of my time. I was at Mill United for when I started off. Then I was in about Aberdeen for a while. Then again, I was just played boys' club with Rangers boys' club and Mill United again. And
who were some of the good players that coming through alongside you?
I used to play with Lewis Ferguson at Mill United. And my team, that's really the only ones that were in my team. I just went on to actually do something there.
Right, okay, brilliant. Very good.
Any against the good few players.
Who stuck out? Who did you play against?
Can't name them. Just I have like superheroes.
Obviously, John, you started off at Blantyre and then obviously went into management. How did management come about?
What happened was I was obviously when I stopped playing, I was at Morton, and then I went to Auchinleck under Tam McDonald. I played under Tam, and then when Tam lost his job at Auchinleck, he got the manager job at Lanark, and Tam asked me to go and be his assistant. So for 10 years, I was 12 years, I think it was Tam McDonald's assistant with success at Lanark, Bells Hill, Shotts, and then Tam decided that his time was up, and he decided to chuck it. And then I had been, when I was youngster, I was a young player at Blantyre before I went to Hamilton Accies, so I knew the club, and they were looking for a manager, and I was asked if I'd be interested. So I went for an interview and ended up getting the job. And that's the first manager's job I really had. I've been an assistant for a long time, on my own, and it was 2015 I took the manager's job. I've been there since.
And which kind of stuck out to you in the past few years? Has it been a kind of good experience to be there?
Oh, it's been a great. Listen, the first year when I took over at first, and it's well known, I never had one player. So all the players had left. We had to transform the team and build a new team in a very hard championship at the time. It was a championship, very hard. We get relegated the first season. Second season we just missed out on promotion. Then the third season we got promotion. But what we've done is we built a good side. It was like building blocks. You had good players, then you get rid of some. You kept the nucleus a good time. I kept building to be eventually built the team that got promotion. Then kind of won the league the season before. But what happens is when you build A teams, people come and try and take your best players away, and that's exactly what's been happening. You know what I mean? Because people know finances dictate where you're going to play, and clubs will offer obviously more money, and a lot of good players have left. If I look at the players that have left Blantyre since then, since we took over, you look and say if you still had all these players, how good a side it would be. I mean, I've had Craig since he was 17-year-old. Young boy at 17, I've had Craig at the club, so that's why he's progressed into a very good player. So he has, and he's actually only started at the club because he's my best mate. He's engaged to my best mate because he'll not let him leave.
Craig, obviously going to Blantyre, how did the move come about?
Well, I was at Lanark with John Brogan when I was 16 because his boy was my teacher.
Right.
So he got me in it there. So I was there, and then I was just training with him, trialing in them. And then Gibby phoned me. Well, I got a phone call off Gibby. But somehow I think it's my bird's dad sorted it. But I've been in there ever since I was 17 now. 6 years.
What's it been like? How much you enjoyed it?
I've seen the ups and downs. Obviously, it was first year, as I said, it was relegated, but I was in it. wasn't really in the team that much then because I was obviously just still learning. So I was playing boys club at the time still on a joint contract. But then I've obviously years ago when I've picked up a wee bit and in the team and then that's how we started. We got promoted there.
Brilliant. What was it like being named captain as well?
That was a real pleasure, but it's good to take off my pal and all Gary, but he was a great captain for us.
Brilliant. What we're going to do is now, if you've seen the show, we put you in the spot. We give you the manager some manager quick fire questions and the player some teammate questions. So, John, we're going to put the floor to you. You good to answer some quick fire questions?
Yes.
Brilliant. Right. First and foremost, blue or green? Blue.
It's not a hard question.
Favourite other sport?
I've not got one.
Really?
Only football.
Favourite TV show?
Oh, that's a hard one. Probably Match of the Day.
If you could pick one person to go and see live in concert, who would it be?
Adele.
Very good. Best player played with?
Best player played with Wally Waters.
Who's the worst?
Paul McInerney.
Who's the best character you've ever met in football?
Best character met in football. Joe McLeod.
What's the best story?
Best story. The best story is when we were at Stirling Albion and Kevin Drinkwood got the Rangers to come up. Paul Gascoigne's first appearance in Scottish football ever. There was a press, media everywhere looking to get a photograph of him, but there was a ban. The police were there, they couldn't get any photographs of him. But on the Monday morning, no, it was a Friday night we played them, sorry, it was Fair Friday. And the Saturday morning, there was the sun, and pictures of Gaza on the park, walking off. Monday night at training, Brinkle comes in, steam coming out his ears, shouting, "Who took the 40s? Who took the 40s?" And nobody would own up. What had happened was Colin Mitchell, who was playing, had got £300 off the Sun, took the camera and gave it to one of the boys, Big Gary Patterson, that wasn't playing. He says, "Can you take a few 40s for me for Gascoigne?" The Gascoigne. Big Gaz just took all the 40s. Mitch just took the camera back off him, gave it back to the boy in the Sun and got £300.
Brilliant. You can pick 3 players for your rivals in the league to sign. Who would it be?
I would bring in Ross Caldwell, who I had before. Nicky Little,
Okay.
right bank. And Alan Mackenzie, the striker at Darvel.
Brilliant. Win the league or win the Scottish Cup?
I'll win the league.
Who's your favourite manager in the league?
Tom Malloy.
Who's your least favourite manager in the league?
I've not got one. I got on with them all.
Best player ever managed?
Best player ever managed. There's a few, that's a hard question. So it's Craig Kerr's probably my most enjoyable one, because coming as a 17-year-old and developing into the player he is now, he's probably the best we've had.
Brilliant. Who will be the Rangers manager?
I think the supporters want Van Bronckhorst. I don't think that was a board's choice. I'm not too sure.
Messi or Ronaldo?
Ronaldo.
Very good. That's obviously your quick fire questions answered, but we'll keep you on because we want to get your thoughts on the questions we're going to ask Craig. We're going to put the teammate questions to you, Craig. Are you good to answer these?
Aye, back in.
Brilliant. Obviously, John, chip in with some answers yourself if you disagree with any of his answers, all right?
Fire on, yes, I will.
Who's the future manager?
The Blantyre?
Who in the team do you think to be a future manager?
Or don't know, they're on Humpties. Big Jake Hughes.
John, what's your thoughts?
I don't think M could be managers.
No, that.
Who's the best dancer?
Oh, me by far, 100%. You know what is coming.
Who's the worst?
Don't know, it's a brand new team, man, so I've not seen half of them dance. Go Scott Gibson.
Who's the best trainer?
Say the boy Cammy, it's just coming. Loves Scotland hard.
John, who's the best trainer?
Yeah, Cammy works hard at training. I've got some good trainers, work hard through the day. So again, Cammy's one of them, but
Jonesy maybe. Jonesy and all.
who?
Jonesy.
Jonesy. Yeah, we've got some good trainers, so we have, I must admit, work hard in training.
Who's the worst trainer?
Big Mikey.
I would say Sam Mackenzie, because he's never.
I hammer off. He's not been there.
He's not away with Scotland.
Who's the team hard man, Craig? Or who?
Jonesy all day.
I got to agree with that. Jonesy would kick me and Macker even standing at the side of the park. And just
Run for a go.
Who's the most skillful?
Probably myself. No, I'll probably be Lewis McDonald.
Yeah, I would go with that as well. We'll get Anne back.
Anne's back. Aye.
Black is back in, so Anne's very skillful as well.
I'd say him as well.
Who's the quickest?
Probably be Lewis.
Who's the slowest?
Oh, it's a hard one. Not quite quick actually. Go Mikey again.
Big man, when they say Big Mikey,
I don't know. They're all roughly about the same. There's no much in it. I'm just thinking somebody to blame, but it's probably as fast as me.
It's probably a bad day that I can beat a few of them right enough, Scott.
Really hard.
Who's the best character in the dressing room?
Big Jake. Wee Granty as well. He's full of character. An umpty and all, but he's a character.
Who's got the worst dress sense?
Oh, John Cunningham. 100%. 100%.
Final question: who's the teacher's pet?
Oh, yeah,
John,
Yeah, I'm like-
who's the teacher's pet?
I would probably, Aaron's came back, but I would probably.
He's sitting in.
Lewis.
Wee Lewis, he's not been there, but
Lewis is injured now, but it's probably Wee Lewis.
the
Brilliant.
gaffer's boy.
What we're going to do is now, you might know now that we get some sources to give us some information, and we've got a few good ones here, by the way. There's a few good ones for you, Craig. First question: ask Craig about his choice of footwear during his proposal to his missus.
Pair of Birkenstocks, you can't beat them. Comfiest thing alive.
Why do they call you?
I was quite lucky, Scott, to see the proposal because my mate had took a video of it and said, the first thing I says to my wife Linda says, he's going to take some stick for these shoes.
Craig, why do they call you Yaya?
Because I can play centre mid and centre back. So stay in your back, basically.
Brilliant. John, what's your favourite John Lambie story?
Oh, there's a few with John Lambie, so there is. You could tell a few stories about John. Obviously, he beat Rangers in the Scottish Cup, coming back into the club, having a right good drink, so he was. And he always talk about his pigeons, but probably the day I seen him in the shower chasing Big Willie Jimison, looking for a square goal with him because Willie had spoke back to him. And he's got his suit on and he's in the shower looking to fight with him.
Craig, a couple for you. Could you share your pre-match routine step by step and don't leave anything out?
Step by step. You get the tunes on. I collect all the fine money in. That's a first. That has to happen. Can't let him get away with that. And if not, you warm up, get washed, quick wash because I'm always sweating like mad. Then I'll put my socks on, tape on, then I'll get colours of Vic, fling it on me, man. Face everything, my tap, everything, so I can breathe. Then get the salts, smelling salts, and that's me good to go.
Brilliant. Ask the gaffer if he's ever crowd stuffed at a Simple Minds concert in the Barrowlands.
Oh, that would be an aye, it was aye. That's obviously came for his film, which would be film.
Oh.
Ask Craig about his Dumb and Dumber haircut he got in Tenerife, and I'm wearing a
Oh,
hat
that
till
That was that
picked
helmet
up-
again, wasn't it? That was him again. No, I was
Tell us that story.
about an hour before I was going to propose, and I went and got a haircut in the hotel hairdressers. So honestly, see if I could send you the photos. It's mental. It's like that. Something doing like that in the back of my head, man. So I was freaking out. So I was going to propose. So this was an hour before it. So I ended up having to phone my missus to go and come to the hairdressers with me to go and get it sorted. Because I was freaking out and all that. I can't get proposed like this. So I ended up dragging her about Tenerife trying to get hairdressers, and I had to get it sorted, honestly. Sweating like mad. I was on the chair, absolutely soaking. My heart was killing here. She's cutting bits up here now. I'm like, oh no. As if she's never done it before. Oh, it's brutal.
Ask Craig if he has sleepovers with the gaffer and his missus' dad.
Do it again?
Ask Craig if he has sleepovers with the gaffer and his missus' dad.
Aye, what time? Pretty much.
Ask Craig about being part of Daft during his first season and not turning up to games sometimes.
I used to be better, that was back in my bad days. I'm saying I wasn't playing. Just to go in a vendor.
That's true, Scott. I know I used to turn up some days and you used to get a text, I can't make it. I'm working this. I was working this morning.
Going a vendor.
Ask Craig who's whipped the most by their missus.
Who's whipped the most?
Aye, I take it that must be the whole team.
I've got a wee group chat at the Breakfast Club with some of the boys that I've played with before. That'll be Kieran Patterson, definitely.
Ask the gaffer his best and worst signing.
Worst signing. I wouldn't give my worst signing out, so I wouldn't like to do
Come
that.
on, you need to say it.
No, I wouldn't say my worst. My best signings, I've had a few. I must admit, I've had a few good signings, so I have. as I say, go back to Ross Caldwell, quality player. Really, see all the players that's been a success through the club. Gav Muller, Gav was excellent for me, so he had to pick one out wouldn't be right, because a lot of my signings have been a right success for the club, so they have. And
yeah, definitely.
Definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. What's been your best memory in football for both of you? We'll start with John. What's been your best memory in football?
Probably the best memory in football is when you're winning. I'll know of one stuck out. There's a lot that stick out, but when you're winning, your best memory is always when you're winning. And winning the league with Blantyre and going up and getting promotion. That's obviously from a management point of view. That's been really good. And I had a few successes, as I say, with Tom McDonald and playing career, really good successes. I mean, and I don't mean to have, but when you go and you get a chance to play at Ibrox and Parkhead, now these things are memories and they'll live with you forever.
Yeah, absolutely. Craig, what's been your best memory in football?
I've won a few leagues at boys club and that, but as a higher up level you play it, you want to go and win higher up stuff to get a better name for yourself. So getting promoted and obviously going to win the league as well with Blantyre, that was the best.
John, where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Probably in a wheelchair. No, listen, I enjoy what I'm doing, so I do. And as long as I feel as if I'm doing enough for the club and working hard for the club and trying to get them success, I don't see anything else. I'm a loyal person. I've always said that, and I've stayed loyal to Blantyre, so I have over the years, and I love it at the club, and I love bringing young boys in and seeing them progress. And Craig's an example, and Fraser Allen's an example, Aaron Black's examples, and that's where you get your most satisfaction from. And I look and you say, we Gav Muller coming in, young boy left East Kilbride, we Lewis McDonald, and I would like to think that I felt him along the way and made them better players.
Brilliant. Ask Craig who's the best company in a night out in the team.
And the team? Oh, it's a tough one. Probably stuck between three. Fraz, Big Jake and Alan. That's my three.
Brilliant. We've got a couple of final ones here. Can you ask the guys about Grant training at the Vics?
About what?
Grant Brennan. You must have to tell us a story about Grant Brennan.
He's a weapon, put it that way.
I tell you what, I've not got enough boys in my bag for Grant Brennan.
Fill the fence.
Yeah, I have. He puts everything on the fence all the time for shooting.
They get any Grant Brennan stories?
Oh, hundreds, man. If copies everybody's boots, but Saturday, me Alan had new boots. Grant had the exact same boots. Me Alan took his off, Grant took his off. Copies of everything. We're absolutely howling the boots to like a luminous yellow or something. He's whipped by his bird and all. Actually, he's one of the questions. He's one of the ones that's whipped his bird. What else is there? See, like TikTok and all. He's got a couple of videos and that. They're absolutely. You would stack them right there. Then honestly, they're disgusting. Dancing with his bird and that. Oh.
Brilliant. Craig, who'll be the Rangers manager?
I want Van Bronckhorst.
Think it's done?
Hopefully. I think they're letting the better old time kind of passing now before they bring another statement. I think just a bit of respect in it.
Yeah, I think you could be right there. Who do you think will win the Premier Division? We'll start with John.
I think Auchinleck will win it. I think they've just put that run together with a good consistency. I think Darvel will probably just fall a wee bit short because of that wee bad run they had in 4 games, picking any points up, or they only picked one up. Other than that, I don't know. I think they'll get back in at Darvel, but I just think that gap is just that wee bit too much just now for the Auchinleck to drop it.
Craig, who do you think will win the Premier Division?
Aye, Tab it for me as well. They're just a class team. They know how to grind out victories every game.
One final one for Craig. Who's the best player you played against this season?
Played against this season. Nicky Little.
Brilliant, but we'll touch a wee bit on that.
I'll add, Craig never played in the game, but see the boy, Darren's got the boy, the Morrison, I think, as they call him.
Morrison. Yeah, Lewis Morrison.
Very good player, so he is. He's probably the one that's came in this year in the league, you would say, he's a class act, so well, and he could go a wee bit further. Dan's done great to get him in and playing him, so he has.
Yeah, definitely, I would agree with that. There's a question here. Is there plans for the club to get an SFA membership and improve the infrastructure at the club? We'll go to John on that.
I think obviously the big thing for there is getting the floodlights. We've done a lot of work at the ground, Scott. I mean, I don't know if you've seen it. There's people at the club, even the committee, but there's people out with the committee who've put a lot of hard work and a lot of money in doing the ground up with the George Fulson putting the 3 stands in, which are excellent. Gordon Leck has done a lot of groundwork round about it, putting seats in at the thing, mate. And these people have been valuable at the club, and the committee have worked hard. The thing about the floodlights is it's a lot of money. It's a lot of money for a club like Blantyre to try and get these floodlights in. I know we've looked at it. We looked at trying to move there a couple of seasons ago, sell the ground and move to the Hingley, but with a wee bit of problem with the council and people kind of no one wants to get the ground. But I mean, they're trying to progress, and we've done really well with the ground, but a lot of work into the pitch as well. And sometimes it just doesn't work. I don't know what's sometimes with the pitch, we've put a lot of money into it, but no, listen, they're trying to put the infrastructure in right, and they've done really well, new roofs and all that on the stands, and they are trying, so they are. But again, with limited resources, but we've done really well. We have come on a lot. That ground's come on a lot, so it has.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll touch a wee bit on what's coming up for you. You are playing Broxburn in the South Challenge Cup this Saturday. Craig, how big a game's that?
It's massive. We need to get another win. I mean, need to start a wee run again. I think that's the right time to do it. I mean, get a cup win and then that should go on for the league again.
Yeah. John, what's your thoughts for this weekend? Are you confident you could get a wee result?
We had a good result in the South Challenge Cup last time against Cumnock. Probably one of our better performances. Again, it's a team coming for another league. Although we try and do a wee bit of homework on, we don't know a great deal about them. But it's one of the ones you're hoping to win. Listen, we always set standards at Blantyre, and Craig will tell you, always try and say, stay in the cup competitions till after Christmas. It gives the club a lift and it keeps people in interest. They keep coming and watching the games. So we'll try and keeping that cup till after Christmas and try and win the game on Saturday.
Yeah, absolutely. And then obviously after Broxburn, you've got three away games in the league before Christmas. Kilburnley, Davil and Hurlford. Craig, how big are they games to obviously maybe try and get a wee run going and kind of try and get your wee kind of run if you are going to stay up?
Massive. Two of the teams are really good teams, so it's hard to take points, but you need to go with the right attitude and you'll probably get something. Kilburnley, it's a team roughly about the same as us, you'd say. So we're hoping to hopefully get the 3 points for that one. Yeah. It's a must win that one.
John, how big is that game against Kilburnley? Obviously, a team in a similar position. Is that a massive game to try and get a wee run going?
Listen, as I say, you always try. I said at the start of the season, the teams in the British you've got to do. We've related or sell a wee bit now. Tom's done a great job there. Sean's done a great job doing there, so they haven't went in. And what they've done is they've got their selling to that pack. And I said that to Tam when I spoke to Tam last week. Get your selling to that pack, and anything can happen. And they've done that. Can we get ourselves back into that pack? Well, if we start with a win against Kilburnley, then you've got a wee chance. That gives you that wee lift. The games against Arden Meadow and Hurlford. What I will say is they're 3 good pitches, and I think that'll suit us a wee bit better playing in good pitches. And it's games that can we win them? I think we can win them. I think I've got enough quality in the team. It's just getting that confidence up and making sure we go with the right attitude and get the right tactics right, and we get the right shape right to try and win the games. Yeah, definitely. But we can only wish you all the very best for the season ahead. It's been an absolute pleasure to talk to you tonight. Thanks very much to both of you for coming on. Scott, thanks very much. Brilliant. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you. Thanks very much for that. Thank you very much to everyone that's tuned into the show. Please follow us on social media for more West of Scotland football coverage. And of course, subscribe to our podcast and YouTube channels. Thanks very much, everyone. We'll see you soon. Cheers.